Hey everyone, I am Matt Williamson at Williamson NFL. How is everyone doing? We got Memorial Day weekend here on the horizon. Have a happy and safe Memorial Day. Have a blast. Don't think there's going to be a whole lot of Steeler action over the weekend, but who the heck knows? Just got word that I will be at minicamp next week. I guess the roof is finished, so there will be a spot for me to set up and do radio and have some nuggets for you from there, of course. Always good to get down there and see everybody running around. But today, this might be kind of a shorty, but we are here to talk money. There are 5 Steelers contracts I want to discuss, as well as their salary cap situation. And let's start there with the cap. So I'm sure a lot of you are pretty well on top of this, but per overthecap.com, I think they're the best ones out there. The Steelers right now have a smidge over $18 million in cap space. Now that's middle of the pack. You know, to give you some example, the Patriots have 50, the Commanders have 43. That's by far the most for both them. And teams like the Dolphins, Seahawks, Giants are under $2 million to spend. So Steelers have 18, which, make note, you can roll this over if you don't use it, but that's more than you need. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how Omar looks at it, but Kevin Colbert used to love to come into the season with like $4 or $5 million to play with, so you can make a trade if you need to. You can sign a guy if people get hurt, etc. That being said, they have money to spend. Now, let me take this a step further. And it gets a little hairy because a lot of this is depending on how many guys you have under contract, but that's also important. So when I tab over to 2025, the Steelers have the 4th most cap space to spend. And that's not even rolling anything over. Like, to give you an example, the Patriots have $113 million to spend after this offseason. The Cardinals have $100 million. The Commanders have 86. The Steelers have 83.3. Now, Pittsburgh only has 37 players under contract for 2025, which is a low number. I mean, for example, the Patriots have 45, the Commanders have 44, the Cardinals only have 35. So you would need to add bodies no matter what. That's not even a full roster, of course. But I don't know that everyone around here realizes how much cap space this team has now, as well as this upcoming offseason. And let's take it even a step further, which is kind of dangerous in the NFL because things change so quickly. But if you look at the current 2026 cap situation, only the Broncos have more space than the Steelers. Steelers have $184.7 million of cap space right now in 2026. Almost $185 million. Only the Broncos have more. They're at like 189. Now, the Steelers only have 23 players under contract right now for 2026. But I think all this is by design. You know, like, when I kind of throw it out there that the Steelers could go sign Dak Prescott this offseason, the Steelers could go sign Dak Prescott this offseason, or the number one receiver on the market, or if they wanted to make a deal for DK Metcalf or Ayuk or something like that, which doesn't seem to be happening, but financially, they're capable of pretty much doing anything they want. So I want you to realize that. These guys have all the spending power in the world, basically. BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NBA, and NHL playoffs. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Let's talk contracts. When they said 5 players here. Cam Hayward. He's, quote, sitting out. Well, it's voluntary. You can't sit something like that out. But he has an expiring deal. This is going to get done, folks. I mean, I'm sure they'll tack on this. I mean, though he has this year, I assume they'll put one more on there, maybe even two that they could maybe get out of, give him a nice signing bonus now, maybe even open more cap space for now. And he's not going to break the bank and make Chris Jones money, I don't think. But he'll get a nice salary that he's deserving, and that's going to get done. I mean, I think that's an easy one. Najee, I don't know. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option at just under $7 million, 6.6. And they say that they have every intention of getting something done with him. You know, he's somebody that's in our future plans, I think were the wording. And could be. I do have some slight doubts how well he fits a a mostly outside zone rushing attack. And by the time his contract's up a year from now, he's going to have a lot of wear and tear on his body. I mean, he's a physical dude that came in the league older. Remember that. Now, I'm sure you could probably get him on a 2-year, $14 million deal, something like that, and that absolutely could be worth it. But the thing about the fifth-year option was it was guaranteed, and who knows what this season entails. I mean, if he gets the heck beat out of him or, you know, really blows an Achilles or a knee or something late in the year, the following season, you're on the hook with that, with the fifth-year option. So I think that's a big reason they didn't do it. I do think they like the person, the player, the competitiveness. So I would think he adds a year to his deal at a minimum. Freiermuth, to me, is the perfect, give him an extension in camp, starts to have a good camp. You're 2 weeks in, it's hot in Latrobe, and you have every intention of using him as a featured receiver, which they didn't last year for whatever reason. I think you give him a 3-year deal, market rate as the 8th highest paid tight end in the league, which he could easily outplay before you know it. I mean, contracts go up quickly. Yeah, he could be. I think it's a good time to buy on him, I guess is a better way of putting it. Then he could outplay the contract and all that. I mean, because he's coming off a down year. By NFL money, not by mine year money. He hasn't made a fortune. You know, he's made a rookie deal, 2nd-year contract. Give him a nice signing bonus. You might get him at a real good price. James Daniels also is a free agent after this year. We kind of talked about this on the mailbag show. McCormick's in waiting. But you have the money. He's young. Why not give him a deal now when you could probably get him a little pricier? I mean, if he hits the open market, you're not going to bring him back. You know, I mean, if he became a true free agent after this deal, or after this season, someone's going to pay him like they did Kevin Dotson or, you know, someone at 18, 19 million. And I'm not in that market. But if we can talk an extension at 13 per or something like that at his age and as well as he's played, I think now's a good time to do it. You have the money, keep the O-line continuity, see where McCormick lands in all this. And it's not a knock on McCormick. You guys know I love him. But keeping good players seems like something you can do with this money you have. And you have to get some guys under contract for future years. You're lighter than the rest of the league. And as we talked about it earlier, at 2025 and 2026 for players under contract. But that'll come. I mean, you draft 7 of them a year or whatever, too, just like everybody else. So I would strongly consider talking to him nowish, you know, before it gets open market time. And I would think he'd be interested in staying. Now, this one's kind of a shot in the dark. And I think you'd have to wait at least into the preseason to see how he's playing. See how he looks in a Steeler uniform, how he's working with the team, actually doing real football stuff, not to make light of the OTAs and all. But what about Justin Fields? I'm thinking about, what if you give him a 2-year, he's going to be a free agent after this year. What if you give him a 2-year, $20 million, maybe up to $25 million over 2 years? I mean, you're paying Trubisky like 8. I mean, if you could give him high-end backup money, you might reap the rewards in a big way. Because if he hits, I mean, like, I'm looking at it this way. Like, worst case scenario, I think, in Fields' career is he's a really good backup, you know, that can do athletic stuff and throw the football, of course. But maybe he's not a starting quarterback, and he'd be an expensive backup at that price. But you have the money. And if he's more than that, it's a bargain. I mean, what if he's your starter next year and you can get him at that price and still develop him? Or he becomes a starter at some point this year and it's a home run and he's really good, which I think is possible. So is now the time to buy low on, not now, but is July, August the time to buy low on Fields after you really have a good feeling for him, how he interacts, leadership, intelligence, playing on the field, all that stuff, which I don't have many reservations about. But it might be smart considering you have no quarterbacks under contract a year from now. And that wouldn't even prohibit you to go sign Dak Prescott at $60 million a year. I mean, you could even trade Fields if he's promising but not good, Saw the Bears do it. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, I think it's something that you should consider if you're the team. You got a lot of spending power. Be nice to have him around for 2 years, whether you draft someone past him, sign someone past him. Because I do think at a minimum, he's a really strong backup. And I think he's probably more than that. But that's why I'm offering a contract now, is to get ahead of it and maybe have a pretty cheap quarterback room for not only 2024, but 2025 and 26. I don't know. Just curious what you guys think. So again, you also have a lot of money, this year, and I would love to see that somehow end up in a wide receiver's hands that's not on the team. And another corner wouldn't hurt, but you do have this cash, and you see a lot of teams, especially as we near camp, trade 6th and 7th round picks for expensive veterans. But basically what you're doing is you're giving up a 6th or 7th round. You're giving up cap space for the player. You're trading cap space to your opponent, your trade partner. And I can see that being in the mix too. But I'm curious what you guys think about retaining those guys I mentioned too. I think that they're good players. I think it's an opportune time in a lot of their careers to buy now, whether because they're older, Hayward, or because they're like Freiermuth, where he's coming off a so-so year. And I'm sure some of you are worried about his durability. I get that. I mean, I can't fight that too hard, to be honest with you. But buying 80 cents on the dollar on Fields, Freiermuth, etc., to me makes a lot of sense. I could go either way on Najee. I could kind of go either way on James Daniels. But you have cap space. Use it, All right, guys. Take care.